Let's kick shell!
Okay, so first thing I do, of course, is I wait. In order to trigger max rank on stages 1 and 2, you have to wait until the splinter sprite is at its biggest, and once it appears, which is the next one, you trigger max rank. So this puts the maximum number of enemies that the game can allow. Typically it's 12, but you can actually go above that if you have special circumstances, like the guys coming from the outside the building there. Stage 1, I just try to be kind of gung-ho about it because stage 1 is pretty easy. If you don't get grabbed, it's pretty easy. So you just kind of just try and take out as many as possible. You can afford to be a bit more risky doing things like that. And honestly, the name of the game is having proper grouping for them and using reverse shoulder whenever they're behind you. Reverse shoulder kills them instantly, so you don't have to hit them 3 times. And if you move vertically up and down and they follow you, if they're behind you, you do the reverse shoulder, they walk into it. It's safer than trying to move towards them, because if you move towards them, they might attack preemptively or they might grab you like that. And honestly, the grab is the most dangerous part of stage 1. Only the purple ninja can grab you. And if they grab you, any hit you take while grabbed is going to do 2 bars of your health instantly. And the recovery is very fast, so they can combo you like that. So you have to mash directions to get out of a grab. Mashing buttons doesn't do anything. Only the directions will help you mash out. And then once you mash out of the grab, the next hit you take always does instant damage and knocks you down. In this section, as you know, you may see you can slide kick under the lasers there. And then here what I try to do is, you know, obviously just try and group them. Hitting them with a strike and then doing a special or a reverse shoulder into them is pretty effective because the strike will stun them, keep them in place, and then you can combo them. Another good thing to do here is kind of hover around the wrecking ball, and the wrecking ball will do like half of your work for you. So just hover around it, make sure you pay attention to the pattern and you know how to like move away, and you know, it'll hit them more often than it hits you. So for Baxter, you really want to hit him with the falling strike. That's the name of the game for most bosses. If you can safely hit them with the falling strike, that is the optimal strategy. So with him, I usually do the DP just to keep him locked in the corner so he doesn't move around or shoot or anything. And then that sets me up for the falling strike. Now technically on this second phase, you don't actually need the DP, that's the rising upward kick. You don't actually need that to keep him in the corner because you can bait him into doing his attack and then you can just punish it. But it is more consistent to do it that way. So stage 2 is the second stage where you have to wait because once you beat stage 1, the rank resets back to where it was. Or technically it raises by 1. Like once you beat stage 1 without dying, the rank rate increases by 1 here. But in order to put it back to max, you need to wait for Splinter again. Stages 1 and 2 are the only stages where you have to do this, because in stage 3 it's impossible. And once you get to stage 4, without dying, the rank is already at max by that point in the game. So there's no need to wait. Stage 2, it's kind of a race against the clock. There is some leeway, but generally you want to try and take out massive groups like I'm doing here. It's kind of like stage 1, you want to be a little bit risky. It's still early in the game, so you don't actually have to worry too much about dying, because if you have to reset here, I mean, it's still pretty early in the game. First pizza comes really fast, and then there's another pizza later, so it's not really a big deal. The priority is taking out as many as possible, like grouping them together and just trying to get rid of them as quickly as possible, because on max rank and very hard mode, if you take too long, this is the stage where it is easiest to it's the stage where you don't normally dodge at the timer bomb, where it is easiest to actually die to the timer bomb just by taking too long. And then right there, I got I got hit because I got the throw on one enemy, and the throw kind of locks you into position. And the throw is it's random. You don't actually control when throws happen. You can cancel the recovery of the throw, but the other guy was already attacking. And when they do that side kick, that kick does 3 bars of your health instantly, so it is a very dangerous move. Yeah, so here what I try to do is I want to avoid scrolling the screen too much to the right, because I want to do a setup here for the robots. I did a setup earlier for the previous group of robots. Those robots, they are very good at harassing you. I grabbed that pizza power a little too early there. I wasn't actually trying to do that. But fortunately, there are a few strats you can use here, and I like this one here. It's pretty effective with Leo because his falling strike has the second best range after Donatello. Now you may see sometimes when Leo does his horizontal slash, that move actually does hit behind him. And we saw there was at least one instance in this stage where that happened. So in this section here, just because of how the enemies spawn, you usually want to go back and forth with the lunge kick or slide kicks if you have the time for it. And normally it works out to where you can just get a whole bunch of them by doing that. Right here, I'm not actually at risk of dying to these guys anyway. But if I get knocked down by the kunai that the orange guys throw, that does 3 bars, so you actually can die from that. The sword ninja and the other ones with the 3-section staff, they can't do 3 bars. They can only do 2, so I was safe against them. So Metalhead, there's this manipulation here. If you position yourself at a certain distance and put your back to him, he will do this jump kick, and you can punish the recovery of the jump kick with the falling strikes. You get 2 of them and do a lot of damage. That is the fastest way to beat him, and it's very, very consistent to do it that way, because you kind of avoid, you know, he has an invincible counterattack, which that strategy is very effective at avoiding. So stage 3, auto scroller, so you can't wait for Splinter, so there's no way to influence the rank here. The rank is already at the maximum it could be, and then here you can't get throws or slams. It's impossible, and that means that strikes are much more consistent, so you can freely strike enemies without fear of getting a throw or something. Generally, it's very effective to get a bunch of them with strikes, and then just cancel the recovery of the strike with a reverse shoulder if an enemy gets behind you. So just strike, 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 keep striking, and then if someone gets behind me, depends on what's going on there. I did a DP in order to get the invincibility, but yeah, like you do strikes and then reverse shoulder the ones behind you if it's safe to do so. Just like that. That way you just deny the ones that are behind you while dealing with the ones that are in front of you. And then usually, like, I know where the hazards are and where they appear, so like I know the gate was about to appear, so I stick to the left side of the screen. You can obviously go under the gate. That is a lot more effective if you are towards the bottom of the screen. or you can just do a DP to go through the gate. At that point, like since I'm already near the end of the level, I actually did not care that that thing hit me. To me, it was more important to get rid of the guy. And once you get here, there's 3 gates, and I just position myself there in a spot where the gates don't hit me. This section's completely random, and there's no real consistent way to effectively avoid getting hit. Sometimes you can do it, you can manage it better than others. It's just luck of the draw here. There is a lot of flashing that appears after this, so if you're epileptic or have sensitivity to a lot of flashing lights, don't look at the end of this. It's the only part of the game that does that. So, and dealing with the pizza monsters, they when you first see them come out of the water, they don't have their hurt box. It's not active just yet. Not until like almost their entire body is out of the water, and then you can swing and hit them. Alright, so like I said, no need to wait for Splinter. The rank is already at max once you get to this point. And this is going to be the first stage where I intentionally do not try to rush. Well, in stage 3, there's no risk of timing out, but as far as stage 1 and 2, you do want to beat them quickly so that you don't time out. This is the first stage where I don't really worry too much about the timer because it is baked into the route, or into the strategies rather, that you want to use your DP to dodge the timer bomb. And being able to do that involves knowing what loop the bomb drops at. And usually I'm at the same general area of the stage when it happens. So once I get to that area, I start looking out for it. And the fact that I don't have to rush allows me to manipulate the screen scroll in a way that I get only certain enemies appear on the screen at once. If you just move the screen as far as possible, you always get a massive group at once. And the more enemies there are on screen, the more likely it is that you'll get hit with something. So in order to mitigate that, I scroll the screen up to a point in order to make certain enemies appear, get rid of them, and then scroll up to a point, get rid of those, and then you just kind of repeat that for the rest of the game, except for stage 7, which is another auto-scroller. So yeah, right here, I trigger this group. I want these guys to appear before the purple foot ninja that jump out of the lake. So I can deal with these 2 guys like that without being harassed by anyone else. And in here, what I want to do is I want to get rid of those archers before I move forward. So I get rid of those 2, and then there's some purple foot ninja. The fewer there are, the easier it is to deal with them. And you minimize the chances that you'll get grabbed or get hit with one of their kicks that, you know, do a lot of damage. So this guy's like staying really far away, and I'm trying to get him to change his AI mode. And that's something that's kind of subtle in this game. Enemies have different modes of AI where they'll behave like it acts kind of like a light switch, where they'll just randomly change up some of their behavior. And being able to identify what mode they're in allows you to know how you're supposed to deal with them. So like, for example, those pink guys with the tonfa, sometimes they move extra fast. And then right there, I randomly got a slam. In order to avoid getting caught with the second bomb, I had to drop the slam and get out of there. If I had continued with the slam, I would have gotten hit on the recovery of it. So here, again, lots of controlled scrolling. What I'm trying to do is get these bomb guys to appear. I force them to throw the bomb so that I don't have to deal with that. The bomb does 3 bars of your health instantly and has a massive explosion radius. And it does hit you in the air too, so it's not like you can jump over it either. It doesn't have a hitbox until it explodes, so there's that at least. If you bait them, you can you can actually punish their throw animation, guaranteed. So it's a very good thing to do if there aren't other enemies in the way. These rock soldiers, it's impossible to throw them, so you can use strikes very confidently on them. Now, what you'll see me do a lot, especially against these guys, is I do something called whiff canceling. So when I do a regular strike, like right there, you see how Leo did a sidekick? You can cancel the recovery of those strikes if you hold up or down and the strike whiffs. Like if the strike does not hit an enemy and you're holding up or down on the recovery, you make it recover faster and you protect yourself by doing that. So you'll see me use this a lot against most of the enemies in the game. Right there, again, I got another sidekick. Those are random. They come out randomly and they have very bad range, those sidekicks. So you want to whiff cancel them so that it's less likely that the enemies will punish you. And then right here, what I'm trying to do is make sure that I take the pizza power right before the timer bomb drops. Technically, I don't have to do that. I can use a DP to dodge the timer bomb, but the thing is, DP, you can fail the execution. And if you fail it, you'll just get hit with the bomb and die. Pizza power, on the other hand, it gives you invincibility for a long time. There's no way to fail it. So if you know that the timer bomb is about to drop, you can just grab the pizza power and just avoid it. And then what I'm trying to do here is get rid of these guys. A little mistake there, wrong jump kick. So I'm trying to get rid of these guys before I scroll the screen. That way I avoid a massive group that comes behind me. They just despawn. And you'll see this a lot. Like right here, I do this round off and I get those enemies right there. There's a massive group that spawns behind me, but since I'm scrolling the screen so quickly, they just wind up despawning and I don't have to fight them. I do it again towards the end of the stage. There's another group that appears. So having controlled screen scroll is very effective. And the fact that Leo can use his special without moving forward is actually pretty good for preventing, accidental screen scrolls. Like that, I don't have to worry about it. So right here, there's certain enemies that I'm trying to get rid of. It's a few rock soldiers and a few archers. And once I get rid of them and I clear the screen, I can move the screen forward. Now you notice whenever I do this, I avoid the right side of the screen. I try to stick only to the left side so that I don't scroll the screen. And then I do that slide kick so that I scroll the screen very quickly. That way, any enemies that appear behind, they're more likely to despawn and I don't have to fight them. Yeah, this strat, just bait Cement Man into throwing the cement, and then you can punish him with the 2 falling strikes. Accidental round off there, I wasn't trying to do that, but wound up not getting punished for it. Cement Man's pretty easy, honestly. He's one of the easier bosses in the game. And Leonardo doesn't have to delay his strikes on him. You can just do them as fast as possible, and the timing works out to hit him, get the double hit on him every time. So stage 5, one of the most problematic stages in the game, and it's largely because the planks control where you can and can't go. Technically, the planks have a very tiny hitbox, but fact of the matter is, when you're dealing with massive groups of enemies, it's still easy to get hit by them. So you have to work around them. But also, this is the first stage that has these guys right here. These are one of the most dangerous enemies in the game. And the reason for that is they have this weapon that controls the sky. And the sky is basically the only safe area in the game for you. Most enemies cannot really do anything to you if you're in the air. And when you use your DP, which is the only move that you have that has invincibility, it puts you in the air. So if you have enemies that are controlling the air, it's kind of dangerous. That's why those archers and the sword guys, right? Those enemies, they are dangerous because they have aerial attacks. The purple ninja, they have the jump kick, which is dangerous, but it's on a delay, and it's kind of easy to avoid. So right here, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do whiff cancel, accidentally to attack to the left. So the thing is, if you randomly get a sidekick, the range is too short and you wind up getting punished. So in order to avoid that, I try to do the whiff cancel on the rock soldiers, because any other strike you get will reach. These guys have massive range, and they definitely intend to use it. So they will stand at a range that is too far for your sidekick to hit them, unless you're moving into them, which can be dangerous. So when there's a lot of enemies like that, it's very prudent to just use a dive kick, knock some of them down. Wound up getting a slam there. You can extend slams if you time your button presses. You can do up to 4 slams. You can control that. If you don't press any buttons, you just get 1 slam, and that's it. So it is very effective to pay attention to the situation and know when to drop the slams and when to continue them. So those the archers in this stage, they are different from the ones in stage 4. They shoot fire arrows. Fire arrows do 1 bar of your health instantly. They also land on the floor, and you can that does instant damage too if you get hit with that fire. So I just stand in front of them, because if you stand, unless you're standing like right in their face, if you stand in front of them but like a little bit of a distance, they just shoot the arrow right over your head. So as long as you don't jump, they won't hit you. So yeah, dive kick that guy so I can get some breathing room. I do the special. Leo's special does go off screen because he swings his sword. So I was able to hit that guy while he was off screen. Dive kick that guy to make sure that he doesn't bother me. And then what I do here is I use the pillar to block some of them. I'm trying to dive kick the ones that are appearing so that I can, you know, minimize. Yeah, I wanted to get hit with the plank there. So the main priority here is to just don't get hit with the bomb, and don't get hit with the melee attack of the rock soldiers. Both of those attacks will do 3 bars of your health instantly. If you get hit with like some other things, it's not too bad. So these guys, if you put your back to them, they always toss their weapon. So it is actually effective it's an effective way of baiting them. And you see that a lot later on, and also in Starbase you'll see that that happen a lot. So the bomb is gonna drop pretty soon. But what I do here is because you have these archers and sword guys, again, they control the air pretty effectively. So I do a controlled screen scroll to make sure I get only some of them at a time. And then ideally you want to take care of the ones in the back first, because you can do so without scrolling the screen. And then right here I want to use the pizza power in order to avoid the bomb. Yeah, right there I got a slam. I let it drop because I saw that the other guy was gonna get close, and I didn't want to get hit by him. Yeah, and it's I tried to move up into him, into the rock soldier, and try to do like a DP, but the planks have a really janky hitbox. It's not very big, but it is pretty janky. And right here, I bait the yellow guy into throwing his weapon, and then I dive kick the archer. Again, dive kick, not very strong, but very, very effective at just... You basically just take that enemy out of play for a moment, so they are incapable of doing anything to you. And that is very, very, very effective. Main disadvantage of the dive kick is that it can only hit one enemy at a time. So if you have multiple enemies grouped up, you can't dive kick all of them. You can only dive kick one at a time. So you have to be cognizant of that. Baited the yellow guy by putting my back towards him. And then here I'm trying to get the sword guys as soon as possible. Dive kick that guy so that I can punish his wake up with the falling strike. And then do a DP. So that guy, the sword guy set up the rock soldier there, so I had to use the DP for its invincibility in order to get out of that. Otherwise I would have died. And then right here, I'm trying to get a specific pixel position because it allows me to go across the bottom without getting hit by the planks. There are two pixel positions that you can have at the bottom there, and there's one that's slightly higher than the other, and you will get hit with the plank. So it's I use a visual reference to help me know if I'm at the very, very bottom of the screen. And then right here, I'm just trying to get these sword guys, and then once I get these, I can avoid a big group of enemies by doing that. So again, a proper screen scrolling. And right here, if you do from really far away, if you do your falling strikes, it's pretty effective at dealing with those guys if you have the space. Alright, so Toka and Razar, you can use falling strikes against them. It depends on the situation. Razar is pretty aggressive, so most of the time he doesn't let you do it on him easily. You can do it on his wake up if Toka's not harassing you. Once you get rid of Razar, it becomes far, far easier to use the falling strike against Toka. And then it's really just managing. This fight is completely random, by the way. Their behavior is random. So right there, I sneak in a falling strike. I know Razar is going to come with his dash move, so I do a DP upon landing. And then back attack, for some reason, it does more damage than other moves against bosses. So it's really effective. So sneak in that falling strike and then switch to back attacks. On Razar is if Toka's nowhere near you, that is the fastest way to deal with Razar. So it is very effective, but again, falling strike is only really good against him if you're catching him on his wake up. Otherwise, he can very easily interrupt you. His slash has massive vertical reach. Alright, so now that Razar is gone, I can do this strat against Toka. And because of the speed of his attack, and he doesn't have the vertical range that Razar has. Alright. They do have an extended hit stun, where sometimes you'll hit them and their hit stun will last longer than usual. Whenever you see that, they are guaranteed to have an invincible counterattack afterward. So whenever you see that, you should try and get away if possible. Alright, so stage 6, you start out, unlike other stages, you start out with enemies spawning, which is very peculiar. Generally, you don't really see that on stages in this game. Stage 6 is kind of the exception to that. They just throw enemies at you right away, and some of them come from behind. So I try to use the invincibility effectively, because you do start with invincibility, so I try to sweep as many as I can at the start. And then there are two main dangers in this stage. The girder rock soldiers, those guys, they only have melee attacks. They have the swing, they swing the girder, and they have a close range sidekick. They don't do the sidekick that often. Sidekick is pretty weak. It does the same damage as like any random, attack that like from the other foot ninja. But the girder, that does 3 bars instantly. These guys right here. So try to knock him down so that I can deal with the foot ninja. And there are a few different ways to deal with them. Any way that you can deal with them is a calculated risk. The only thing I found that is probably the best thing, or like the least likely to get hit, is using whiff cancel from a very particular range with a very particular timing. And it is kind of difficult to do that. Accidentally did a special backwards. I was trying to attack in front. But stage 6 is kind of unique in that You can take a lot of damage at the start, but the section leading up to the pizza is actually not that difficult. It's just, it has some girder guys, so you can take a lot of damage, but the enemies that it gives you aren't actually super dangerous. So usually if I lose like half my health here, I'm not that worried unless I get hit with the rock soldier melee attacks. Because there aren't any yellow guys here, there are no archers, they're not really controlling the air. The only ones that really control the air here are the sword guys, and they're pretty easy to deal with. Yeah, so right here, trying to use the whiff cancel. Now you'll see like what the rock soldier did just there. You'll see enemies attack even though I'm not near them. They do that randomly, and I call it a preemptive strike. So they attack preemptively even though you're not close to them, on the off chance that you happen to move into it. And that is the reason why I try not to move into enemies, because they do it randomly, but it happens often enough that you get hit with one here or there, and that's all it takes for you to lose. So that's why I prefer doing, you know, whiff cancel and reverse shoulder and just wait for them to move into my hitbox. Because if I'm moving towards them, there's a possibility they'll do the preemptive and then I'll just walk into it. So you want to make them walk into you, into your attacks, not the other way around. Yeah, so right there, I tried to get him with the falling strike, but it actually didn't hit far enough off screen. So I did a DP upon landing. I kind of got lucky. He could have punished me for that, but he didn't do his swing quickly enough. Alright, these guys, they are actually the most aggressive ones in the game. Like the ones with the tuning forks. They only have a basic attack, but their foot speed is... Their foot speed is really fast. And their main attack, their attacks are pretty fast. So, most effective way I found of dealing with them is using the whiff cancel and making them just walk into it and just kind of playing footsies like a fighting game. And if you do that, it's much more easy to deal with them. So once I get to this section, this is when you start seeing the orange guys. Their weapon is called Kusarigama. I don't think it has an English name, but that weapon, as you can see, has absurd horizontal range, and it does have a bit of a vertical hitbox. So they do kind of control the air somewhat. And then right there, I wait for the bomb, dodge the bomb before I scroll the screen. Ideally, I don't want enemies on the screen harassing me while the bomb is going to drop. Right there, I walk in front of them just to bait them, because that attack they do is highly, highly punishable. So right here, I just kind of move around, try and get either dive kicks or hit them with a DP or something, so that I don't have to deal with all of them at once. And then oftentimes what I'll do is when I scroll the screen forward, I'll do a jump, because those the orange guys, they like to attack from off screen where you can't see them. So a lot of times when I know that they're gonna appear, I'll move forward and then I'll jump so that I don't get hit with that. Just like that. So even though in a scenario like this, even though the girder guy technically has the highest damage output, the orange guys are the most dangerous enemies because they have the most space control. Yeah, right there I waited for him to do his attack and I used my DP to just use the iframes to go through it. And right here, dive kick that guy so I can deal with the guy on the left easier. And dive kick that guy. So these are all strategic dive kicks to make sure that I'm giving myself some breathing room to deal with these guys. Axe guys, they do instant damage if they hit you with the axe, but their regular axe swings only do 1 bar. They do 2 bars if they hit you with the big swing, but their big swing gets the axe stuck in the floor, and they have a massive recovery window that you can punish them easily. Falling Strike interrupts the sword guys when they do their jump. That was a mistake right there, and I got away with it. So this game has something called a strike finisher. It's a random move that you can do if you double tap your strike button and you hit something. The turtle will randomly do a strike finisher. He does like this little hop swing with his sword, and I did my DP instantly upon landing and managed to power through the explosion. Otherwise, I would have just blasted myself by mistake. Alright, so these bazooka guys, they do 3 bars instantly if you get hit. They have the melee swing and they have the bazooka, the shot. So I'm trying to get rid of 3 of them before I scroll the screen forward, because that allows me to avoid a massive group that comes from behind. And that group does include the orange foot ninja. So those guys are, like I said, they are the most dangerous enemies on this stage, and I want to make sure that I don't have to fight them. So I get rid of these 3. Accidentally scrolled the screen a little bit too much, but once you get rid of 3, you can scroll the screen more, and then now this is the last guy. I don't have to deal with anyone else. Alright, and then the name of the game is just beat Leatherhead quickly so you don't get a second bomb. You can get more than 1 timer bomb. The timer does reset. Once you dodge the first one, it resets, and you can time out again. So Leatherhead, he does this little back and forth hop. So rather than moving into him, I do the same thing that I do with other enemies. I put out a hitbox and I make him move into it. And then I just stay at I basically stay at the edge of my Z-axis range so that he can't counterattack me, because from that range I can hit him but he can't hit me. Alright, so stage 7 is the second auto-scroller, and unlike stage 3, there are no hazards in this stage to hit you. So and there's more space too. There's more like room to move around in. So because this stage is an auto-scroller, it's not actually based on you defeating the enemies. It's just basically survive until the end of the stage. So I don't actually have to fight them, and I opt not to fight them specifically because if I do, there will be some enemies spawn, like these helicopter guys, and some robots will spawn. But you'll get like a bunch of them. You'll get like several helicopters and several robots, and those guys are more of a pain in the butt to deal with. So I'd rather minimize the chances that those enemies will spawn by just avoiding these guys. They'll appear for a while, and then once they're on screen for a certain amount of time, they just kind of give up and leave, and then another group of enemies takes their place. I think there is some slight variation in when they decide to leave. It's not 100% consistent. And then once they get off screen and they despawn, depending on the timing of the despawn, sometimes you'll get helicopter guys or robots that will appear, but most of the time it's fine. So yeah. So it's like 3 helicopter guys. Falling Strike deals with them very easily. I just hit that guy, so just for the fun of it, and then he left. He ran away once I hit him. He didn't want to fight me without his weapon, so he just left. So this is the final group here. It's actually possible to avoid this group with these guys with the 3-section staff, but I spawned them on purpose because it's easier to deal with them than it is to deal with the enemies that come before them. And if you get rid of that final group quickly, it actually makes Super Krang spawn faster. So you have more time to deal with him. And because this is very hard mode, Super Krang has massive amounts of health, which is why you kind of have to do this strategy against him in order to beat him on time. Otherwise, you will get a timer bomb. And because the boss music is playing, it's kind of difficult to know when the bomb is going to drop, especially since the music is going to start at a different time depending on when you beat the final group of enemies, which means that the bomb is not going to drop at the same part of the music loop. So rather than having to deal with that kind of variation, I came up with this strategy that allows me to beat him quickly, and then I don't have to worry about the bomb at all. And ideally what you want him to do is either that rocket kick, which is best case scenario because they're very easy to punish, or you want him to do the missiles, chest missiles. It's a little bit harder to punish. Sometimes, as you see, sometimes I get hit. Kind of depends on which turtle you're using and your timing. Each turtle will have a different timing for this strategy, which is why the rocket kick is more favorable. And right there, you see how I moved left and then right again? That's actually just a movement manipulation. I don't want him too close to me while I'm baiting him, so I move to the left to get him to move that way, and then back to the right before I baited him. So you have to do like this little micro movement thing in order to make sure he's in the correct spot. I did my whiff cancel there to try and hit it with the strike, and I wound up missing. So whiff cancel helps you recover in time to get out of the way. You don't want these these things. They're called walkers, but I like to call them Roombas because they remind me of Roombas. That attack they do, it does 2 bars of your health instantly, and it kind of locks you into place as well. So it's easy to get comboed afterward. But you can jump over it and attack them with a dive kick or a strike. And it's right there. I got very unlucky, so I got a random throw, and that locked me in place. And then the other guy did his side kick, which does 3 bars instantly. And then right here, I do a setup here, but it actually got messed up because Leo did his random sidekick, and it wound up missing one of the Roombas. So I had to do a backup strategy there. Fortunately, if there are no Foot Ninja bothering you, they have very, very consistent movement. Those Roombas are not random at all, unlike these guys. So they are much easier to deal with. But of course, they're more dangerous if you leave them unchecked because of the instant damage they do. Yeah, so dive kick that guy so I can deal with the other one safely. Punish this guy on his wake up. And then when I scroll the screen, I jump to make sure that these guys don't hit me, and I can react to them. So I turned around and did a DP there. I was trying to knock him towards the center of the screen. It's easier to punish his wake up. Yeah, so again, jump, scroll the screen, and then jump, and you can avoid those guys. And then right here, I saw that the archer was there, so I wasn't planning to extend my slam, but I extended it specifically to extend my invincibility so that the arrow would not damage me. So there's a massive group here that I'm trying to avoid. There are some purple Foot Ninja that basically teleport onto the screen once you go far enough. And when they do that, they lock the screen. Now, I do a very, very specific strategy here where I manage to unlock the screen, spawn those guys that teleport, and because those guys appear, it forces the screen to lock later, which actually helps me with the later group where the turrets are. So I actually intentionally make the screen lock later on in order to avoid a problematic scenario later. So, yep, I knock him towards the center. That makes it easier to deal with his wake up. Then there are 3 of these guys that appear from behind. So I just try and deal with them. And I think I move forward to get the 3rd one to appear. Once I get the 3rd one to appear and I deal with him, now I'm going to do the round off I'm gonna have this group trail behind me, and they're gonna lock the screen at the perfect moment. I can get rid of those 2 turrets, but the screen locks so that I don't spawn the group that comes after these guys yet. That way I can do a screen manipulation here and get rid of these guys before the next group of purple ninja that are gonna basically materialize at the top of the screen there. So it's a very, very specific strategy. And this section used to be absolutely awful before I figured out how to do that. So right here, I'm just kind of baiting him into throwing that. And then I put my back towards them. That way, it baits them to throw it every time. It's very consistent. It basically removes the randomness from those guys. And then right here, I punish these guys. I don't have to deal with the yellow guys at all because I did the screen locking strategy from before. So at this point, the bomb is going to come pretty soon. So I'm trying to just manage these guys the best that I can. You don't have to get rid of them before the bomb drops, but it does make it easier because you're not being harassed. So right here, time it properly. Okay, so that's the first bomb. Now, Starbase is so long that you wind up having to dodge 2 bombs here. Technically, you can do the stage quickly enough where you don't have to dodge the second one. Yep, just let the slam drop because I didn't want to put myself at risk. The other guys were far from me, and axe guys, they walk very slowly. So it takes them a while to catch up. So here's another strategy I do specifically to get rid of the turrets as soon as possible. And then what I try to do here is lots of dive kicks to knock enemies down, and lots of reverse shoulder and falling strike to get rid of the ones that get too close. Yep, falling strike to interrupt that guy so he can't get his jump kick. And then I bait this guy into doing his shock so that I can get behind him and punish him reliably. And that also removes the randomness from those guys. Anytime you can remove randomness from the enemies, it's very favorable. It makes it less likely that you'll get hit with something. And right here, what I try to do is I just try to bait them into throwing those and then punishing them. The good thing about these guys, even though they're dangerous, if you bait them into throwing it, they just stay in the same spot for a long time and they have a massive punishable window. These guys, again, they are pretty dangerous. If they knock you down with the kunai, it does 3 bars. If they hit you with that lunge kick, it does 3 bars. So I just kind of just wait for them to move into my hitboxes. All right, so ice panels. Ice panels are super random. They can get you killed. I bait these guys into coming to this part of the screen so that I can get rid of them. And then I try my best to avoid having any of them get behind me, but managed to pull through, grab the pizza. And you want to get rid of those 3 guys first because it minimizes the amount of enemies that you have to fight here. And I need to get rid of as many enemies as possible here as quickly as possible in order for the screen to unlock. Unfortunately, they kind of knocked me to the left, and then I got unlucky with the ice. So that put me in critical territory in terms of my health. So at this point, it's basically do not get hit with anything that does 3 bars instantly. That's lunge kicks from these guys. The pink guys can do a lunge kick. Any kind of rock soldier melee attack with their weapon. The bazooka shots, like all of those do 3 bars instantly. That kick that the guy did just there. So again, just try and make them move into my attacks. And then here, use the DP to avoid the fire, knock that guy down, punish his attack, because they lock themselves into place when they do that. So you can punish them on reaction. And then once I do that, I went straight for the pizza power, and I thought that guy was gonna hit me. I honestly thought the yellow guy was gonna hit me there. But yeah, once I do that, there's a massive group that appears behind. But using the pizza power to get rid of that group and then going ahead pretty quickly, it avoids that group. So then right here, I'm just trying to not scroll the screen far too much. What I want to do is jump and then move forward and then move back and then do a DP upon landing. That enables me to dodge, you know, these guys if I need to. Because I need to scroll the screen forward, but I don't want to jump over the laser just yet. Okay, I did my DP there because I wasn't sure if the bomb was going to drop on that loop. But no, I got here a little bit earlier than expected. So the next music loop is when the bomb is going to drop. So once I get rid of those foot ninja, there are 2 rock soldiers here that I'm trying to get rid of. And I'm trying to do this in a way where I don't get the random sidekick. Because if I get the random sidekick, those guys will hit me. And if I don't whiff cancel it properly. And right here, I'm trying to get rid of this guy before the music loops again. And there we go. So I got rid of him. Now I wait for the music so that I can dodge this next timer bomb. And Starbase is kind of unique in the sense that if you manage to get near the end of the stage, it actually disables the timer. But I wasn't going to have the time to do that. I wanted to make sure that I just dodged the bomb. And right here, just dive kick enemies. Bait him into throwing that. Yeah, dive kick is not strong, but it does make it so that the enemy on the ground can't do anything to you. So yeah, walk in front of that guy, bait him into throwing his bomb. And right here, I do a little setup so that I always get that guy with the bomb. Dive kick him so that I can punish the rock soldier's wake up without fear. Break that so he can't use it. And then just, you know, do that, get rid of him. So Krang's movement, it's really difficult to describe, but it does behave according to certain rules. And if you learn those rules, you can basically just kind of follow him and cling to him. What you want to make sure is that you hit him as quickly as possible so that he doesn't really drop these Roombas. If you take too long, he'll drop them. And I try to get rid of them as soon as possible. Because when he drops them, they take a moment before they become active, but their hurt box is still there. So you can actually just get rid of them instantly. Also, there's a little bit of a manipulation here where if you stand like in the center, you can bait him into doing his bubble attack, but his bubble attack doesn't actually hit him. It doesn't actually reach in the center, so it's a safe spot. So yeah, here I just cling to him. So you can actually follow his movement if you understand the pattern, and the low jump kick is very, very effective at getting him there. So here we go, Shredder. There are 2 attacks that I try to do to bait him into doing this projectile attack. Is very easy to punish. You just jump over it. And then he has this jump kick. If you're at a certain range from him, he'll do the jump kick instead of the projectile. In any case, both of them can be punished with the falling strike, and you can get a double hit on him if you do it right. Sometimes he gets an invincible counterattack, which he does a few times to me here, and I wind up getting punished for it. But most of the time you can get the double hit. And this move here, that move kills you instantly. That's an instant death. So I never challenge that move. I go under him and I wait until the move is done. I do not try to attempt to challenge it. Yeah, accidentally got that forward kick there. So I did a DP when I landed in front of him so he couldn't punish me. And there you go. So the game is super fast paced, and there's a lot that you have to process in terms of enemy movement and grouping in a very short amount of time. And that's one of the reasons I love it, because it's like you have to really think on your feet while you're dealing with the feet. So it makes it very interesting. And the fact that there's randomness to the enemies, it makes it so every time you play the game is different. But they're not 100% random. They do behave according to certain rules, and you can use those rules to your advantage. So Leo was the last turtle. I hope that was informative. I hope you guys enjoy the explanation of, like, you know, what I'm thinking while I'm playing the game and like what I'm actually going for, and also pointing out some of the mistakes that happen, like, oh, I did this thing but I didn't mean to do it, so here's how I tried to recover from it, that sort of thing. And then, yeah, of course, the the input recording has everything up until when I exited the emulator, and then it's gonna say like playback ended or something on the bottom. Playback ended. Reason end of file. I love how it tells you the reason. It says reason end of file. All right. That's gonna be it, guys.